What's up, cast and crew? My name is Alexa with a Y, and welcome back to another episode of The Classics, where I review one of AFI's 100 greatest American films of all time each week. And the polls are in. Today we'll be reviewing Singing in the Rain. Singing in the Rain is the classic American rom-com starring the Holy Trinity, Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, and Debbie Reynolds. In film history, between 1926 and 1930, motion pictures were transitioning from silent films to incorporating sound. Singing in the Rain depicts this transition, but in a much more vibrant, comically genius, and entertaining way, with hints of romance. Of course, in the film, this transition isn't easy for anyone, so when Don and Lena, a popular screen couple's silent film turns into a musical, only Don has the chops to sing. And though Lena practices with a diction coach, she still sounds terrible. So Kathy, a bright young aspiring actress played by Debbie Reynolds, is then hired to record over her voice. Now, I've heard of the iconic Singing in the Rain scene done by the master Gene Kelly himself, but this is actually the first time I ever watched the film. So, my impression of it? I loved it! As a fan of anything musical, I knew I would inevitably love this film, and I have to give credit where credit is due and really applaud Mr. Gene Kelly, who not only co-directed it with his best pal Stanley Donen, he also choreographed most scenes and starred in it. We'll dive into this later, but starring in the golden age wasn't just grade A acting, you also sang and danced, aka you were a triple threat. Another reason why I really love this film is because of how old Hollywood it is. Now obviously it is literally old Hollywood, but looking back at it, it's very nostalgic. Nowadays, film sets shoot on location, whereas in those days, they were constantly on the studio lot filming in these huge sound stages. Even the iconic Singing in the Rain scene was filmed on a lot. If you've ever done a Warner Brothers or Universal Studio tour, I'm pretty positive this scene was shot in front of facades. That way they could also control the rain. Now, referencing to La La Land by Damien Chazelle and comparing it to some of the scenes in Singing in the Rain, it's all making a lot of sense now. La La Land's premise was an ode to old Hollywood, and I too would one day love to reference some of these timeless moments. And now we move on to script versus scene. So my favorite scene was between Don, Cosmo, who's Don's right-hand man and played brilliantly by Donald O'Connor, and R.F. Simpson, the head of the studio. In this scene, they're discussing the possibilities of turning their silent film, The Dueling Cavalier, into a musical picture while somehow still starring Lena despite her, distasteful voice.
Well, of course we talk. Don't everybody?
I really love this scene mainly for the blocking, just how fluid the shot is, and that it's all done in one
take. The Dueling
take.
Cavalier with music. The title. The title's not right. We need a musical title. Cosmo?
Hey, The Dueling Mammy. No. I've got it. The Dancing Cavalier.
That's it, Don. The Dancing Cavalier. Cosmo, remind me to make you a scriptwriter.
Well, thanks, all right. Have a cigar.
Thanks.
The scene then goes on for another minute or so.
Right.
Well, this way we get in the modern dancing numbers. Charleston, but in the dream part, we can still use the costume stuff.
Sensational. Cosmo, remind me to give you a raise.
ORF.
Yes?
Give me a raise.
And now to our last segment. Out of the 24 Academy Award categories, 3 we're focusing on today begins with the obvious, the music! Arthur Freed was the head of the musical department, aka the Freed Unit at MGM, which was a studio that produced most of the greatest American classics. Arthur Freed wrote all of the lyrics from this film, amongst others, with music from Nacio Herb Brown. I adored all of the songs. There's clever rhyming.
Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses.
The overture at the beginning of the film especially. And we can't forget the obvious, the Singing in the Rain song.
Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face.
But the one I loved the most was You Were Meant for Me, performed by Gene Kelly. In this scene, Dawn serenades Kathy with this song.
Content, the angels must have sent you, and they meant you just for me.
Another thing I also love about old Hollywood musicals was their incorporation of dance sequences. So though the song is a lovely ballad, it also turns into a phenomenon of choreography. Speaking of choreography, the two leading men, Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor, were responsible for the amazing dance sequences you see all throughout the film. Hence the second Academy category being directing. As you know, Gene Kelly co-directed this film with Stanley Donen, so while Gene was directing the actors, Stanley was taking charge behind the scenes with camera work. Another thing I love about the classics are their long takes, mainly because they shot with physical film back then, but in this film specifically, I think all the long takes were so masterfully directed. The first that comes to mind is the chat through the sound stages while various scenes are being shot in the background. The timing of everything in that scene is just so amazing, along with the direction/choreography of Cosmo in this tape.
Make 'em roar, make 'em scream, take a fall, but a wall split a seam. You start off by pretending you're a dancer with grace. You wiggle till they giggle and all.
Now, although Best Dance Direction was only an Academy category for 2 years, in 1935 to 1937, I have to mention it here for this scene between Gene and Sid Charisse. Yes, it was so thoughtfully directed, but it went hand in hand with such divine choreography, or dance direction. The story behind the making of the shot is what makes it even better. Sid Charisse recalls how hard the wind machines were hitting her to get the fabric in certain directions, though ironically, this scene comes across so delicate and gracefully. After this whole amazingly 9-minute dance sequence, Dawn realizes all that this mysterious girl wanted was money over love. So I love that the following shot of him is him walking out of a casino. To me, that sort of symbolizes that love shouldn't be a gamble. Speaking of that girl's fabric, the last Academy category today is the costume design. There's something about the 1920s outfits that scream nostalgic Hollywood. Now, I don't have any clever conclusions or color combos that symbolize a greater meaning. I just really liked the costume design. Most notably is the first time we see Kathy perform. She breaks through a cake in this wonderful baby pink one piece that the rest of the dancers wear as well. Paired with the matching head cap, I really loved this outfit. I also have to go back to this scene and say that I loved Kathy's lilac outfit here as well. It's the perfect amount of loose for the wind to really make her look ethereal. Kathy's outfit in the famous Good Morning scene was also very chic, and I love her knit top.
Good morning.
Good morning,
We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
good morning to you.
I've also just come to realize that all of her outfits are mostly monochromatic. One thing La La Land also pays an ode to in its film is the vibrancy and variety of colors, but mostly primaries. And throughout that 9-10 minute dance sequence, there is a vast amount of bold costume design choices and multitudes of evolving color palettes. Though that's it, I also just have to really quickly add in a bit about the acting in this film. Debbie Reynolds was only 18 when she landed this role, and she also had no dance background, but yet was simultaneously paired to star next to the performing genius, Gene Kelly. Also, We can't conclude this without Donald O'Connor, who completely killed his role as Cosmo. His iconic Make 'em Laugh scene is just pure genius and 100% choreographed by him. Donald O'Connor rightfully won Best Actor at the Golden Globes. Just take a look at the scene. Performed all flips and stunts himself and was even sent to the hospital for exhaustion and carpet burns after the tape. It's a must-see 4-minute long performance. I'll leave a link down below for you guys to watch. So, what'd you think? Because comedies aren't my go-to or preference of a genre, I did rate Singing in the Rain a 4 to 5. I'm more of a romantic drama kind of girl like The Notebook or Love Story, but because of its evident romance and my infatuation with anything musicals, this will definitely be a go-to comfort film for me. If you didn't know, I make these film reviews to one day be able to fund my own projects, so please make sure to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. If you'd like a say in what movies I review next, you can follow my Twitter here for weekly polls. Thank you again to AFI for providing the 100 Greatest American Film list. 2 down, 98 to go.